like to. We like to look at those things that are going on with law enforcement, with the law, with the craziness that affects our streets. We do it in a segment that we regularly do called Law and Disorder.
In the criminal justice system, the people,
pimps, addicts, thieves, bums, winos, girls who can't keep an address, and men who don't care,
are represented by two separate yet equally important groups.
A cop, a flatfoot, a bull, a dick, John Law. You're the fuzz, the heat, you're poison, you're trouble, you're bad news.
These are their stories.
Let's get into it. In San Francisco, everybody, those crazy libby libs in San Francisco. You know where they're having sex now? They're having it in those robo-taxis. That's right. Yep.
Well, it is a place of privacy.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh,
it's a wild idea, but it just might work. Yeah.
What if there's cameras in there? Aren't there cameras all over that thing?
Sometimes that's the kink, baby. You gotta, yeah. It's a new thing. Get yourself a robo-taxi and get it on.
Who is right having that conversation?
It's mating season, and they're hungry.
Right now, it's mating season, and they're hungry. As autonomous vehicles become increasingly popular in San Francisco, some riders are wondering just how far they can push the vehicle's limits, especially with no front seat driver or chaperone to discourage them from questionable behavior. For some, it's an invitation to test the autonomous vehicle's limits. Megan, a woman in her late 20s, took her first robo-taxi ride on a recent late-night excursion. It was also her first time having sex in a driverless vehicle, Kim. A woman.
Did you really just do that?
Yeah. I mean,
there's never been anything like this.
As the woman on the show, I, all I'm saying is maybe you want to speak to this.
I'm sorry, I can't defend her. I just can't do it. I mean, I think those robo-taxis, there's extra scrutiny on them, right? So everyone's looking at them. They can see what you're doing in the back seat. I don't think the windows are tinted, lady.
Oh, so you're saying there is a way that they're seeing what's going on inside your vehicle?
I would think so. Plus, I would be, there's people in the control room, right? Aren't they? They're monitoring the taxis. They probably can look inside, make sure everything's going on, that you're not
Sometimes they're not monitoring the way they should, but I take your point. Yeah. Well, in any case, we got in and just got straight to it, Megan said.
Oh.
Yeah. Making out in the Cruise vehicle. There are two major driverless vehicle companies, Cruise and Waymo. Right. They had sex in Cruise. We got into the Cruise.
Did they give the name of that one so people can avoid it?
Yeah, they probably have sprayed it down since then.
Clean up in bok choy.
Megan, the 20-year-old who took her first robo-taxi ride in San Francisco, says, we got in and just got straight to it, making out. They were wearing nothing but a robe when they got into the taxi, so it was kind of a premeditated thing, it would appear. One thing led to another, and he made sure that, well, I don't need to say that. I have no underwear on. I'm ready to go in this kimono. And I was using his slippers that were like 5 sizes too big. Isn't that cute? Her accomplice was a man in his 30s, Kim. And Alex has said that he has done this 6 separate times in robo-taxis. Sometimes it's impromptu, and sometimes it was planned. There are others in San Francisco over recent months who have talked about these various encounters, and they provided receipts for all of these things. So this has been well documented by journalists who are reporting on the sex in driverless cars phenomenon.
It's a thing, huh? Kind of like the Mile High Club. I wonder if the engineers at Cruise and Waymo, like if they ever thought this is what the robo taxis would be used for.
Well,
These
it's
three
not the
around
first
conference
time. I
table,
mean,
you'd never come up with that.
when Tesla came out with the autopilot feature, there were all these videos online of people doing it in the Teslas when they were doing autopilot.
Well, this just in, Cruise says they are always recording video in the taxi. But
Wow.
they promise they aren't
What?
listening in on you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you request assistance, they can answer you, whoever's in the control room. So there's somebody watching. They're getting an eyeful.
Apparently, according to Megan, again, her name, the 20-year-old, it was getting hot inside the robo-taxi and fogged up to the point that the windshield was completely fogged over. Now, normally that would be a problem if there were a driver, but since there's no driver, they don't care if the windows are fogged up. But again, as Kim has said, this is all recorded because the robo-taxis have these cameras inside, and there are rules for riding in robo-taxis. And I believe they are violating those rules and have run afoul of the...
We have processes and protocols and standards.
Exactly. Run afoul of the processes, protocols, and standards that are typically associated with the robo-taxis. Meantime, in a more serious and bizarre note, an Orange County Superior Court judge, Jeffrey Ferguson, is accused of killing his wife, Cheryl, 65 years old. He's 72. It is a bizarre story because minutes after the murder of his wife, prosecutors say that a California judge shot off a quick out-of-office message to his court clerk and bailiff.
Get out of town. Gotta go.
What?
I just lost it, he said. I just shot my wife. I won't be in tomorrow. I will be in custody. I'm so sorry.
Oh, my God.
His court staff thought he was joking. 72-year-old Judge Jeffrey Ferguson arrested and charged with homicide. Authorities suggest it's an alcohol-fueled argument that led to this outcome. It began at a restaurant and continued when the couple got home from dinner. At the restaurant where there were witnesses, apparently he was pointing his finger at his wife and he was mimicking a firearm. When they got home,
Really nice guy.
when they got home, supposedly the fight escalated and his wife said, "Why don't you point a real gun at me?" At that point, Ferguson allegedly took out a loaded .40 caliber pistol from his ankle holster and he shot his wife at close range through the center chest. The shooting was witnessed by the couple's adult son, the only witness to the killing. Their son called 911, told the operator that his father had been drinking too much and that he'd tried to stabilize his mother, but neither he or first responders were able to do so. The judge called 911 after that to report that his wife had been shot. And the 911 operator asked if he had shot his wife, to which the judge responded he did not want to talk about that now. Police officers recovered 47 firearms and more than 26,000 rounds of ammunition from the couple's home in Anaheim. Yeah. Rifles, shotguns, handguns, all legally owned by the judge. A .48 firearm, a legally owned rifle, was later removed from the home and secured by defense counsel. That was likely the firearm that he used to kill his wife. He's been on the Orange County Superior Court since 2015. His term is slated to run through January of 2027. I believe, and you should Google this, Albert.
What's a guilty pleasure you have?
No, what is the...
Google it.
Google, thank you. That's what I wanted. The Google on this guy, I believe he can remain on the bench until his term is done. I'm pretty sure that's true.
From jail?
He's out on bail, I presume. Maybe not. slated to run through. I'll give you more on the case in a second, but just check on that for me, Albert, will you? He's slated to run through January 2027 on the bench as a judge, and I think he's allowed to remain there. I don't know if he's still going to have a caseload. I'm just saying. Anyway, the case goes to L.A. County Superior Court to avoid any ethical conflict of interest, and he was the deputy Orange County DA. Worked as a prosecutor for the office in 1983. He's been around for a while. As I say, he's 72. And his son says he didn't recall any domestic violence between his parents. He did say his father's temper flared with drinking. And the judge has no prior criminal record. He's charged with 3 felonies: murder, the discharge of a firearm causing death, and personally using a firearm. There was a bond, as I say. Yeah, Kim. So he was released from jail. He posted $1 million bond. And prosecutors have asked that his arraignment be moved up to August 15th. So this week, that was yesterday, I guess. September 1st was where it was supposed to be. I don't know the latest on this. We've been sitting on the story for a couple of days. With everything going on with Georgia, we kind of haven't had a chance to get it off to you. But I believe he has been publicly admonished before. But check that, Albert. I'm pretty sure he's allowed to remain as a judge. I mean, again, until there is a verdict in the case. I mean, it may be a small point, but I think it's...
Google it.
Yeah. He did...
Yeah, I'm still looking, but yeah, he did actually text...
Yeah.
He did text, "I just lost it. I just shot my wife. I won't be in tomorrow," to his staff.
Yeah, and I believe also, Albert, he pleaded not guilty in this.
Yeah, he did plead not guilty.
See, he pleaded not guilty to a charge that's associated where they have him on a 911 recording say, "I just shot my wife." Well, the recording actually doesn't say that he shot his wife.
Yeah, it was a text to his staff. So he actually texted his whole staff that he won't be in the next day because he did lose it and shoot his wife. Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to say is this case has, evidence all over the place. You're tripping on evidence on your way to other evidence. His son is there, saw it, called it in. Anyway, but the guy pleads not guilty. I guess that's the way it just goes down.
It's interesting to me that he admitted it to all of his staff members, but he somehow cared whether there would be a voice recording of the admission on the 911 call. Wait, you already electronically admitted to committing the murder to everyone you work with. So I don't know.
So true. So true. It's weird. He's not in his right mind, obviously, but on another level, I mean, that was his plan. And finally, Albert, there was a story out of the airlines that you wanted. Can I finish with that?
Yeah.
Which one did you want?
Whoever is producing this thing has no idea what they're doing.
Which one, the Malaysia Airlines?
Yeah.
Okay. So Malaysia Airlines has actually charged this disruptive passenger for threatening to blow up the plane in flight. 45-year-old who's been charged with allegedly threatening to blow up the plane during a flight from Australia to Malaysia. Muhammad Arif, a resident of Canberra, taken into custody without incident. But the plane was forced to return to Sydney Airport more than 3 hours into the 8-hour flight to Kuala Lumpur. You have video of it, Albert? There it is.
They do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for.
Is that what he sounded like?
Yeah, it's just the tail end of the audio. But
yeah, he's there.
What's he upset over? What's happening?
He was one of 199 passengers. He got up, and another passenger said, "We just thought he was praying for everyone." People generally had a laugh, but 30 minutes into the flight, it got louder. They stood up, started pushing and shoving passengers before implying that they had explosives in a backpack.
Oh, no.
"I don't think he specifically said bomb," said one witness, but he was carrying his bag and he said, "I've got power in my arms." Passengers spent nearly 3 hours on the plane after it landed before Arif was taken into custody. Gosh, you know,
that's not what you want to hear as a passenger on the
like
plane.
air travel is not already, yeah, he could get 10 years in prison for that. Yeah. That is Law and Disorder for today.
Tune in again next time for more Law and Disorder on The Mark Thompson Show.
All right, that's it. Let's roll. Hey, let's be careful out there.
Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.